What most people don't realize that after you turn 30, you start losing 3 to 5% of your muscle mass every decade forward if you do nothing. That's why strength training is not necessarily about looking good for Instagram or TikTok. It's more about having a better quality of life in the decades that coming in front of you. And in today's video, I'll discuss why this is important. I'll show you exactly how to train to make sure that you're staying on top of your strength training and you carry yourself into the future decades to as good condition as you possibly can. My name is Modi and I am a personal trainer who's running his own personal training studio and helping busy individuals like yourself to navigate through fitness, help to get stronger, look better, and generally be healthier when it comes to all aspects of life. So in today's video, I want to take you through of what steps do we take with my clients to help them to feel better in their 40s and 50s than they did in their 20s or 30s. So here's the problem. Most people are reactive rather than proactive. We're waiting until we hit a problem and then we start working on it. So for example, you are waiting until you stack a certain amount of body fat and you look in the mirror and you are unhappy and then you start thinking of, oh, how do I lose weight? Or when it comes to strength, you may be not noticing that you're getting weaker over a period of years, all of a sudden until it hits and you find it hard to walk a set of stairs or just simply get out of the couch. Most of us are that reactive rather than proactive. That's completely normal. However, we have to be a little bit more proactive, because what happens when you don't move your body is not only that you don't look the certain way that you want, but you're also losing muscle mass, you're losing bone mass, you're losing joint stability, and you also lose confidence in your ability to move, which I think is the most important aspect of whole physical training, because we all want to be confident and independent as we age, because we don't want to rely on anyone. That's just a simple thing. And the way we have to look into strength training is a little bit like a compound interest. So by going in each week 2 to 3 times and lifting weights, you're making very small deposits into your bank account, where that bank account is your health, and then that interest starts compounding and building up, and that means your muscle starts getting stronger, you're growing, your bone density is increasing, and generally you become a healthier person through making those small deposits of strength training. And in the long term, if you make 100-pound deposits into your bank account every month over a period of 20-30 years, you'll have a nice retirement fund. Or if you deposit strength training in the same way for decades, your retirement fund from strength training will be personal independence, which is absolutely amazing. That's what all of us want. And here's the beauty of it. You don't have to turn into a gym bro or gym sister, sounds a bit weird, to actually reap the benefits of all the strength training. All you have to do is go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week and hit full body sessions, focusing on compound movements like deadlift, squat, pull-up, shoulder press, and some core stability activity. For example, like suitcase carry, where you grab a weight and you carry in one arm. That will challenge your core. So the goal is to focus on the full body each session, and you don't go to necessarily do as we all used to old school chest days, back days, leg days. You don't necessarily have to do that. Doing full body sessions will benefit you more, because you will create a lot less fatigue on your body, while you can hit it a little bit harder and not leave yourself sore for days. Another thing what you have to address with training, you have to think about training for your capability rather than exhaustion. And what I mean by that, when you train to exhaustion, you go to the gym and you literally torture yourself to the point where you crawl out and you feel really fatigued. And I know those sessions feel extremely good, but we don't want to crawl out of the gym and feel like absolutely shit after our training session. There's no point in doing that. So what you do instead is actually train for capability. How does that look? You still challenge yourself in the gym, and imagining on a scale from 1 to 10 of your work intensity, you aim for around 8 of how challenging the session is. So if 10 would be you crawling out of the gym feeling sick after the training session. 8 would be like, I'm leaving the gym, I feel some muscle fatigue, I feel a bit tired, maybe my legs are a little bit shaky, but generally I feel good and I can still go about my day. If anything, the session should energize you. And to be honest, that's what I hear quite frequently from my clients, because when they come out from a day of sitting in the office or say day of driving, whatever it is, after a training session, they move their body, they get energized and they feel a lot better. So that's the sweet spot of training, because that will lead for more like gradual and continuous progress with your fitness journey. Because if you kill yourself every single time you go to the gym, you will very likely to be able to do that consistently, and that will lead to exhaustion. So it's better to stay consistent by doing a little bit less, still positively challenging yourself, but not making those workouts completely destroy you. Another key aspect of strength training, and we don't really think about mobility and joint stability training within strength training like realm, but I would also include that, because when we age, we also lose our ability to balance as well. Our mobility gets way worse with age. That's just the easiest way to put that in. And we also have to train these qualities. So for example, when you squat, you want to squat ass to grass as much as you can, so you get a nice stretch in your hips, you challenge your ankle mobility, and you're maintaining your torso like upright within that technique. So each time you go, you want to get even a little bit of a stretch through the exercises you do, and moving your joints through a full range of motion. Moving your joints through a full range of motion will help to protect them, because your muscles will be strong enough through the full like muscle length, and also it will be able to protect the joints even in like challenging positions, which is absolutely great. And beyond that, you will also help to keep your joints like more mobile. You will feel like your movement is a little bit more free. And then there's no different with joint stability as well, because we have stabilizing muscles across all our body. A core is one good example. It stabilizes the spine, keeps you upright, alongside some other muscles. But that's the idea, and that's why we need to challenge core stability, single leg stability, and even overhead stability with overhead carries. And working on joint stability will also mean that you're less likely to slip and pull a muscle, or generally get some a little bit more serious like injuries like ligament injuries. So working on that joint stability and mobility is also extremely important. However, you don't have to make anything specific towards that. You can just include some mobility work at the start of your training session, in your strength training session. Also move through a full range of motion during your strength training session, so you will get that mobility through strength training as well, and you can finish with some stability. One of the examples that I can think of is literally an overhead carry. That way you work shoulder stabilizers, you work your core stability, and that's great. So you don't have to sacrifice a specific period of time. Like I managed to get that into 2 or 3 1-hour sessions a week that my clients are coming to, and we cover most of the aspects of fitness. However, something that gets uncovered is daily movement, but that's why I have to encourage my clients to walk, cycle, and garden, like doing any physical activity outside of the training. So basically the idea is to move your body as much as possible, as long as you feel like you're recovering very well from that. That's the key to overall success and mobility and independence in the future. One great example of how important stability is my knee. I have quite a lot of damage in my left knee, snapped ACL, meniscus tear, torn MCL at some point, didn't even know about that. And most of my training is actually about stabilizing that joint. So all the muscles around my knee is helping to support that knee and keep it in place without sliding too much and causing more damage to the joint. That helped me to prevent ACL surgery. I'm sure it will probably come at some point, but that helps me to prevent it for the last 7 years that I've been training this way, and this is absolutely amazing. When it comes to people who are a little bit more advanced age, so I have a lady that I'm training, she's nearly 60, and for example, she used to feel pain in her knees after a long walk. Since we started strength training, we do that 3 times per week. She's been very consistent throughout. Since November till now May, one of the great things that she told me is that she can go for long walks and she doesn't feel her knees aching anymore. And that's exactly the independence and mobility that I'm talking about. And it's extremely hard to think about that for me, like as a 30-year-old now, but I'm sure we are all gonna get to 60 and we all gonna start feeling that way. So it's much easier if I put in all the work to preserve as much of the capacity that I have physically now, rather than waiting until the point that I feel a significant downhill in my health. And this is why our bodies are amazing, and that's why we should incorporate strength training into our lives. As I said in the beginning, strength training is not about looking pretty on Instagram. It's mostly about personal independence, getting stronger, feeling confident, and being able to do everyday tasks to the point where they bother you less. What I'm talking about, having a good mobility will make you tying up your shoes easier. And these are just simple things that we don't think about until they become hard. And that's exactly why I'm talking about these things. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy this one. So go and watch it, and I'll see you in the next one.